Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Let's celebrate it with or without champagne.
Annie, we can't hear you. Are you talking? Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to another event in our Winning Mentality series. Today, we are talking about career development, finding your professional path, and not just finding it, but winning. We have as a special guest with us tonight, Miss Karla Hill. For me, I call her the HR extraordinaire. Karla and I met years and years ago, and she actually introduced me to the world of HR. And from all that I've learned about Karla since then, it has blessed me and it has motivated me to be the best that I can in HR. She has the goal of helping people get on the path. She has strategies that have been used and that can be implemented no matter where you are in your career path. If you're just starting out or if you're already at the top and there's something else that you need to achieve or learn or grow, she always has something to share, something that can help you develop. So I want to introduce Karla at this time as we get started on our event today.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Lynn. I appreciate that, and the kind words as well. And you're right. I mean, one of my favorite quotes is, "Your passion is your life's purpose, seeking outward expression," right? And what that means to me is, I think there's a purpose in terms of the career that people are supposed to have. And when I say career, it could be your work, right? And the thing is, it really starts with an internal assessment of who you are, and that pouring in. As a HR executive for years and a person that loves to see people operating in their gifts, when that aligns, when your personality, interests, skills, and values matches the needs of the organization or your business, it's a win-win, right? And that's really what I'm looking for. That's what I want to help people do.
Wonderful. Annie?
Annie, you want to speak? Okay, I did speak earlier. But welcome, Karla. We'll see you.
Thank
for
you.
being here. Now, of course, we're going to put on a show. No, but I'm hoping we're going to talk about the importance of career development. Michael is here. Michael has some questions to ask, and maybe to frame my conversation, because I did frame you as the expert in career development. So if I set you up, don't blame me, right? You are the legend in this field for all of us. And I got a video of Karla to play later on, because Karla has a service that you can all get involved in to benefit from what she does. But we'll get there in good time. Michelle, welcome. Victoria, welcome as well. Thank you for being here. You both know Victoria, I'm sure. Natalie, thank you for joining us. Natalie is going to do what she does best with her comments. And Jay, our storytelling strategist. Hello, Laverne. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Karla. Hello, Keith. Hello, Keith in the corner that no one can see. I can see him. I see him there. Of course, our conversations. This is our last one before the Verve's book launch. Next Friday, I think we decided as the dates, right, Laverne?
That's correct.
Launch her book formally, her late to the game but winning. So I frame these conversations around, us playing the game. And today is a career development game that we're talking about tonight. Now, to me, I guess in simple terms for my little brain, it's about winning at work and our learning through life. That's my vision of what we're going to talk about today. Margaret, welcome to I call her Superwoman. She's my co-author. See that book behind me? That book there, Lessons Learned from COVID-19? Yeah, Margaret's one of my co-authors in there. If you haven't read her story, then please do go and read her story. I just got a picture from Christine Disick, and that's her name. Holding a copy of my book. That changed me up no end. And that's that. Where are we now? So we're in March nearly, right? And every day I talk about this book for a reason. The more copies you sell, the better. You have the same task with a lifetime of selling your book, one copy at a time. In fact, just talking about your book everywhere you go. So I'm so glad anyone who buys a copy, I'm always and I'm in love with you. I'm in awe. I can't say thank you enough. If you haven't bought a book yet, go and buy the book. There's inspiration to be had. There's 10 authors in the book, so you're going to find something in there that's going to help you. I'm a shameless marketer. I have no problem marketing my book at all. So, if you haven't bought it yet, go and buy the book. Next week, I'll be saying to you, if you haven't bought LeBeau's book yet, go and buy the book. Go and buy the book. That's how book marketing has to work. Enough talking from me. Now, let's hear from our expert, Karla. So, Karla, you can tell me when to play the video. I can play at the beginning, middle, or end. You let me know when you think I should put it on, right? I'll put you back in center screen. Share with us your genius, my friend.
And then I want to say congratulations to Laverne on the launch of the book as well. So just blessings on that.
Thank you.
And just, in terms of, I think everyone has a story that contributes to that genius zone, right? And it's all of those experiences. My background, a first generation New Yorker living in Philadelphia now, was born and raised in New York City. My mother's from Costa Rica. My dad was from Ondas, South Carolina. And what I share is where would two people meet, one from Limon, Costa Rica, and the other from Ondas, South Carolina, except in New York City where they wanted a better life, right? So what that means, that's impacted me in terms of being a daughter of an immigrant and an entrepreneur, but always had a very strong work ethic, having both sides of getting the degrees, right? Master's degree, the certifications, working hard, also partnering with my husband in real estate. So it's different streams, but so we can have options, right? Because one of the things I've sat at tables in terms of executive level tables, and every organization, everything has a role and a mission. Organizations are not in business to ensure that you stay employed, right? They are to deliver the best profits for their shareholders, in the case of for-profits, for nonprofits, and for government, it's to deliver those services efficiently. Now, you can luck out and really have sometimes people that are in those CEO or commissioner spots that have a heart for people, but in general, their mission is not to make sure you stay employed. That is each individual's jobs. And one of the things I talk about is really having, in business, we talk about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? And I say that we need to apply that to ourselves, right? What are our strengths? What are the weaknesses? What are the opportunities and threats? We've seen that the federal government is being disrupted, right? In terms of my 35 years of HR executive experience, we've never really seen anything like that. But that just tells me that we have to be prepared for everything, right? Or anything or nothing. There's nothing that is going to be permanent. So it is our jobs to understand how we're going to support ourselves and our families, right? So in terms of, it begins with assessing your personality, your interests, your skills, and your values. And one of the things during my 35-year career, unfortunately, I've had to terminate tons of people, lay people off as I was going through how many layoffs I've participated in with government. It's probably been at least 5. But, you know, going back to 1989 when the nursing home was closing, right? So there's that process. And the thing is, the people that I've terminated, laid off, they're not bad people. They're not operating in their design. If you have to do something for 8 to 10 hours a day and you are lukewarm on it, it's not going to sustain you or the organization. It shows. And it's almost like the enemy is mediocrity, right? The thing is, when people are flowing in their gifts, and on the other side of HR, where people are really designed to what they're supposed to do, to me, I don't really need other art. I love to see that. And in that case, the organization wins and the person wins also. And that's really what I'm seeking, that alignment. You know, I'm a nerd when it comes to career pathways. And I know that there's 33,000 different occupations, and that's documented by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I speak to before a lot of groups, and if I ask people what some of the younger students, what they want to do, they name the same 5 to 10 occupations. So if you've never seen it, how are you supposed to know what you're supposed to do? And I just tell the story of my career exposure story is my mother being a retired registered nurse supervisor. A lot of Black and brown women that come over from different countries, they go into nursing. And in 8th grade, I said I wanted to be a doctor because I just wanted to reflecting on it, I just wanted to be successful, whatever that looked like. But in undergrad, we had a family friend. I went to School City University of New York, where I was born and raised. And we had a family friend that was the HR person for the New York City Public Library. I hung out with her. And that's when I was exposed to HR. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do that. But imagine if I wasn't ever exposed. I wouldn't, because that was not on my radar. So that, taking people, one of the things I'm most proud of in terms of my certifications, I'm certified in Myers-Briggs, Career Direct. Yes, DISC. Yes is your exceptional self. And it's specifically for 12 to 16-year-olds. Right, where they get a 20, I've been loving this because I get to engage the parent as well as the student. And one of the things I compare, knowing your design, your personality, interest, skills, and in the case of 12 to 16-year-olds, your priorities, is comparing that to knowing the power of compound interest. If you learn that when you're 40 years old, you'll probably be okay because you understand doubling money and so on and so forth. But if you understand compound interest when you are 12 and you implement, you will be wealthy because you have the time to do that. And comparing that to career planning strategy, if you know that you love arts or you love, like I just had something with a 12-year-old where she knows she loves it's not mammals, but reptiles, right? And she knows she loves culture of other countries. And so other things she could be okay at, but she could eliminate the things she has no interest in, right? So, but she knows that now. So that empowers her in those career empowerment opportunities with the tribe, so to speak, with her parents, with her aunts, uncles, with the school people, because she knows what her design is. So that's really what it is. But we know more about our phones and our cars, our laptops. But if I ask you about you, there's really nothing, right? So I know what I'm into, and because of the assessments, because of the experiences that I've had, and I learned to systemize that and collect that data from people. Just like if you went to the doctor, they say, oh, Keith, all Black males your age have that going on. Don't worry about it. Here's a prescription. But they didn't ask you, they didn't do any blood work. They didn't ask what your signs and symptoms were. They didn't get any type of data. So it's the same thing when we are giving advice to people in terms of the careers. We mean well, right? Because one thing, whether somebody's white, Asian, Latino, Black, we all want our children to do better in general than we did, whatever that means, right? So we are giving advice. Oh, put your head down and stay in school, or go into trades. Oh, become a police officer like Uncle Tommy. Like what is that based on, right? It's just based on our limited knowledge. So my thesis is start with yourself. One of the things we talk about in assessment circles is if you stay within, you'll never go without, right? So that means bring your genius zone to I grew up a big sports fan also, so I use a lot of sports analogies. I don't really have time for that, but I understand it because I grew up with it. But you got to bring your best stuff to the field if you're going to win, right? So you could play that video, and it talks that's one of the tools in the toolboxes. I like that assessment tool that you're going to talk about because it is short. There's a lot of people push back with in-depth assessments, but the more information you have, it's like having an X-ray versus a PET scan. You can get more information, but I love this because it talks about what people are motivated to do, right? In terms of just your intrinsic motive, not what you do well, what really excites you. It was originally developed to monitor consumer buying behavior. What makes people feel empowered? That's what's going to attract you like a magnet, right? So I'll let you play the video, and then I'll talk about it more on the other side.
I was playing somewhere else. Give me one quick second. I'll play the video. I love the points you're making. I have to say, I love that. I think a question in development is, I guess some people take the view that it starts as adults, but I take your view that it starts as children. When we can start as children, we are so much more into anything that we really want to be into. Now, Michael's come back. I'm glad he has. So let's play the video, and then we can have a conversation.
Welcome to Discover Your Drive. In a world full of personality assessments, what makes Drive so uniquely different? It comes down to 3 areas: your personal life, your relationships, and your career. When you discover your drive in your personal life, you will learn why you think the way you think. The imposter syndrome that you feel sometimes, the ego, the anxiety, the fear, the self-doubt. When it comes to your relationships, it's all about connecting with other people and their drives. Whether it's an intimate, friend, or personal relationship, learning how and why other people are driven the way they are absolutely changes the way that you show up and the way you connect with them. In your career, it's going to help you with motivation, inspiration, the way you connect with your clients, your coworkers, maybe your boss. And then sales, it absolutely changes the way that you sell when you understand what drives other people. So to discover your drive, simply scroll down. There's gonna be 35 questions. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. Each question is based on what makes you feel important. So work and family can be important to you. Work and family may not make you feel important. We've defined that feeling of importance as when you really feel connected to your true self, feeling on top of the world, being your true identity. On each question, you're going to rank it from 1 to 7 as I strongly disagree or I strongly agree based on what makes you feel important. As you finish your last question, make sure you put your name and email address in so I can send you your 57-page custom drive assessment, which will help you connect more with yourself, revolutionize your relationships, and catapult your career.
Brilliant.
So you will get a complimentary report once we drop the link in. It's not 57 pages anymore. They realized that was a lot of data. It's 2 pages that summarizes your superpowers as well as your kryptonite. And DRIVE is an acronym. DRIVE is for, the D is for director, the R is for relator, the I is for intellectual, the V is for validator, and the E is for executive. And each one really, the first variable talks about what motivates you, what allows you to feel empowered. And this is based on the psychologist Thomas Dewey that says people are motivated to move towards what makes them feel important. So that first variable is what drives you, what makes you really excited, what makes you empowered. And the second variable is how you go about getting that done. So on the drive system, I'm a R, I'm a relator, and my second is an executive. So directors, I'll start with D. Directors are motivated by lifestyle, by freedom, living a life on purpose. They like to travel. They like to live life on their terms. Relator is an R. Relators are motivated by adding value to others, mentoring, development, service. The I is for intellectuals. Intellectuals are motivated by systems and knowledge, education, order. If there's missing information, they can't, they will stall. They need all the information in order to make that decision. The V is for validators. They tend to be more, prefer that external type of affirmation. The creator, Woody, who's the creator of the tool, who just spoke, he calls them, those are your 3 a.m. friends. They really are attracted to trust and serving others, but they like that affirmation as well. They're great at giving validation. And then the E is for executives. Executives are motivated by metrics, by winning, by goals. So on this system, I am a relator. So I care about people accomplishing, and secondary, executive, about their goals, right? So it's like, you say you want to win. Let's go. Like, but we need, and one drive is not better than the other. And I realized I've probably done over 500 of them, of those assessments. And I use it in every single aspect of my life, my personal relationships, my business relationships, my clients, because as a relator, I like for people to feel whole. So I want you, it's not about behaving the way Karla behaves. It's about, I want you to bring your best self, right? And I want to be able to service you in that way. I use the example, if you're able to become a practitioner at being able to navigate and support people in their preferred language or their preferred drive, you just are more supportive of people. You can talk to more people. You'll be more efficient. That's relator executive language, because I believe in efficiency and I believe in people being made whole. And the example that I give, I mentioned earlier that my mother's from Costa Rica, so she speaks Spanish and English with a Jamaican accent. And one of the things so we have a third of the family that speaks Spanish only, a third that speaks Spanish and English, and another third that speaks English only. Now, the person that's bilingual, they're able to speak to everybody, right? Right. So it's the same thing. If you're able to speak to each of those languages in the drive system, your directors, your relators, your intellectuals, your validators, and your executives, that makes it more efficient in anything that you do, right? It's not preaching to the choir, it's preaching to the way that person prefers to be spoken to. And I've used it almost for health professionals, I use it almost as a triage tool, because it's short, but it's so accurate. I've used it probably over 4 years, every day, multiple times a day. And it's a great overlay for career development as well. As a relator executive, it makes sense that I've been a human resources executive most of my career, right? Or all of my career. And that as I pivoted, I retired recently 2 months ago in October, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, time goes by. And what I've pivoted to and what I've shared with people, and Keith and Laverne were at my retirement party as well. What I said during my retirement remarks was, as I retired from my position, and I'm so grateful for that position, because if you realize in government, there's not an occupation that you can name that does not exist in government. And during that 35-year career, my 35-year career, I've had an opportunity to support uniform, fire, police, because I spent about a third in central HR, then the HR manager for the Department of Public Health, behavioral health, public property. I love my tradespeople. I love my white collar people. I just love intrinsically variety of occupations. So I know a lot about a lot of different occupations and how to support them. So when I'm meeting with now, as I pivoted to full-time in my career planning practice, I'm able to bring those experiences, those 35 years of experiences to the field on top of the assessments, right? That's intrinsically who I am. And it's leveraging all of those, I could be at an event, a party, and my sons or my husband will see me talking too long to somebody, they'll come over. Oh, she's talking about careers, isn't she? She's not going to stop. So you might want to leave. I'm really an introvert, except when I'm talking about economic empowerment, right? And career plan, and we're our asset. That's the pillar that we have to use, that most people use. We don't have to, because there's other things, whether it's the stock market, whether it's planning, whether it's real estate. We need a mixture of all of it. And again, the federal government employees see that we can't rest on one thing. We need to make sure, if we're going to support ourselves and our families, we need to have the variety of sources to do that. And when I talked about being a daughter of an immigrant, that's one of the things I've seen. People, immigrant, like when you come over, like my uncle in Costa Rica, my mother, they will talk for hours about when my grandfather. I never met my grandmother, my grandfather. Of course, I grew up with my grandmother, but the thing is, he died early when my mother was 6. And they talk about when he died in Limon, Costa Rica, and my grandmother had, like, at the time, four kids. There's no floor, right? You have to go and make money. You have to, like, there were plenty of times where they went hungry, right? So when you come here, you start hungry now.
Yeah.
What happens is that, you get Americanized, as my mom says, right? And you get lazy or comfortable. But if anything, again, the federal government issues that we've seen, you can't rest on your laurels. You have to, like I tell people, if we're not growing, we are declining. Right?
I totally agree, Karla. Thank you so much for sharing. And this topic, career development, is actually one of the chapters in my book. And because when I came over, like you're talking about coming over, when I came from the islands to this country, I realized how important, when you meet somebody for the first time, and I talk about this in my book, if you don't say much to them, they introduce themselves to you, the first thing they'll tell you is what their title is, what their position is. I am a doctor. I am so-and-so. If you don't remember their name, you're going to remember the position that they have. And so that resonates with me. When I came to this country, as much as the struggles and the challenges, developing my career was a goal. It was a goal. And so if there's someone that's listening to us right now, and they don't know where they are, they need some sort of direction. If you had to name one thing that they can start by doing now to get to the point where they want to get to, what would you say?
I would quite honestly say an assessment to see what, even if it's a drive assessment to start. But there's several ways to get assessments, right? If you happen to be in college, and again, I'm a nerd when it comes to career planning. And when my sons were visiting colleges, I would go visit the career planning offices, and they're always empty. And they have plenty of tools, but people don't value knowing about themselves. I think it starts with knowing what it's, not to be religious, but I'm not a biblical scholar, but one of the stories in the Bible is the story of the widow, right? That didn't have anything and was asked, what do you have? Oh, I only have a little bit of oil. All right. That oil was multiplied. You better go sell some oil, let the supernatural thing take place. But it starts with, what do you have in your own hand? What do you have in your cupboard? You can do the people. And the other thing I've seen people do is like kind of separate. Oh, I work hard and I play hard, and they don't meld together, But I think it's taking all of your personality, interests, skills, and values. One of the things I talk about is if you have an interest in communications or skills in communications, technology, finance, human resources, but you have an interest in a specific field, take those talents to that field. It makes it easier. Right. If you love sports, go do accounting in sports, right? The Phillies, the Eagles, the college team, they all have a need for those type of skills, right? So I still say it starts with an assessment, right? When you say, oh, if you don't feel well, any doctor's office you're going to have to fill out a form. You're going to have to see the triage nurse if you go to emergency and take the data. I don't know why people want to start somewhere up here, right? Oh, my mom, and I guess that's why I'm here, to tell people to start with whatever tools you can get your hands on to find out where you naturally thrive at. If I was in a place where I was not interacting with people or impacting people's lives, I would not be satisfied. But I know that, right? So instead of wondering it, and if I'm very clear, then I'm going to look for those opportunities, even volunteer. And I'm on the board of a couple of different things, and I'll push back. If people want me to do spreadsheet, I'm not doing, because that's not what I do. It for my business, I do it for my household. But in terms of, I know what my gifts are, right? It doesn't make sense to do things that you are not, especially in a volunteer type of thing. But even the volunteer activities that you work in, those are some, what we call in human resources, transferable skills to other areas as well. But people are just all over. I'm saying, take an accounting of your personality, interests, skills, and values, knit that together, and then develop a plan. That's what I do. I see it in, I love doing that, right? But I'm skilled in doing it. I have an interest. So I'm really blessed that I know how to do that. But really what I want is for other people to realize what they can bring to the table as well. So the answer is assessments. And there's free ones. There's ones at your school, if your organization might offer it. But I think, and it's doing it often. I've not only just done, and I'll give an example, right? And assessments are not just so you know what your strengths are. It's the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats. So the tools really are, so yes, I know my strengths, but I know my weaknesses also, right? So in terms of, in the past 3 years, I've released 90 pounds, right? And I say release as opposed to lose, because when you go lose something, you go to try to find it. I'm not trying to find it, but on this journey, so I don't, real quick, I don't eat sugar, I don't eat flour, I don't eat in between meals, I eat 3 meals a day. And I do it with the support of people, right? But what I learned through that journey is that in my career direct assessment, my number one personality trait is I'm unstructured, right? And I'm a serious no chaser type of person, so it's surprising for some people, but so it was like reflective of me. I'm like, but being I've had people that work for me, those people tend to be a little bit more structured. But when you are responsible for your asset, in my case, my body, I didn't have the structure. So I needed the structure to be successful. A sub occupation under human resources is training. And like 20 years ago, I was a training director. When we're doing training plans, we are doing training plans based on gaps, not on strengths, right? So now, what I've learned about myself of being so unstructured, now in those other pillars of my life, faith, fitness, finance, family, and fun, I'm very intentional about where's the system, where's the structure, but I have to think first. It's not natural. It's trained, because I'm a related executive. So I like accomplishing goals. I don't like structure, but I like accomplishing goals. So I brainwashed myself to say, what are the structures and the systems that I'm looking for to win? Right. So, but that came about because of assessments and reflection. I'm like, oh, that's the missing piece. I can't just do anything I want. And ironically, having that structure gives me the freedom that I'm looking for. And that's just Karla, right? I'm giving you an example of Karla's individual development plan. And now I see myself really becoming more of that intellectual, more of that, where's the system? I don't want to be all over. And and that came recently, right? Because I'm continually looking for places to grow and be successful at what I'm doing, and optimize my career and optimize my life while I'm here.
Laverne's still quiet. So Laverne, you're still muted. Anyway, look, I think there's much to learn from you for sure, Karla. I think I love your approach to personal development. Michael, I'll give you the mic in a second. Let me welcome some more people before we move on. So Roxana, welcome. Glad you're here. Christy, thank you for joining us. Always appreciate your time. So Dr. Monica, you got a link to come on stage. So in the studio, feel free to come and share with us. I suppose now I mentioned Dr. Monica because she's a good reason to link career development with finding a job. I wonder if you can comment on that, Karla. And I'll give you a minute. So she's trying to find a job. What can she learn is a question. That might help. Hold on, one sec. Paulette, our finalist genius, glad you're here. My best friend Lisa, our menopause dietitian, holistic health wellness expert. Glad you're here as well. Coach, you're in the studio, so I'm going to welcome you twice, but I've just done it right. Noni, welcome. If you haven't been to Noni's room, sing your heart.
Thank you so much for having me.
I'll come to you as well, Coach David.
Well,
Be patient. Michael has many questions, so I'd love to hear his thoughts on the topic. Who else haven't I mentioned yet? Liana, welcome as well. Thank you all for being here. If you've got questions, you've got comments, experiences to share with us, you're welcome in the studio. The link is on the event page. If you want the link, just let me know. I'll send you the link directly. Jay, I'm sure I mentioned you earlier as well. So Karla, the link between career development and looking for a job. What do you say?
I'm going to compare it to the healthcare field, right? In terms of the examples that I've given, it would be saying like, oh, I want to get better, right? And then what's the plan to get better? Like, so is it just a job, or I'm going to rewind back to the same thing of what do you bring? Why should somebody hire you? Right? It's like, what are you bringing to the table to have that exchange of money? That's really what it's. So it really does go back to an assessment. I really think that we have to really think of what value are we bringing? It's an exchange. So that's my question to you is, why should someone hire you? I mean, it's that mindset of saying, okay, what asset, what are my skills? Why should somebody hire me? And it's more than, oh, I want a job. It's that, okay, what am I going to exchange where somebody's going to want to hire me? And it requires work. It requires assessing what that looks like and what the opportunities are also. It is the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and threats. Right. So you could be good at, 20 years ago, we had clerks, I'm dating myself, clerk stenographers. Right. So stenography was a type of summary thing, right? A tool. But let's say you're good at that, but that's not needed in industry. Right. So what other things can you convert to where somebody's going to want to pay you? Right? AI, and it's a broad type of field. There's a occupation called prompt engineers, where they come up with the prompts to ensure that businesses get the responses that they're looking for from the AI. So looking at what the opportunities are, you don't want to go into, but I still think it begins with you. And that, people want to skip over that first part. I'm going to keep rewinding it. It's like if you're building a house, you still need a strong foundation.
I agree with you. Now keep bringing it back to square one. Really, I think this foundation is important.
When my sons were, my husband really was a strict taskmaster in terms of learning your timetables, because you can't move on to algebra if you're trying to figure out times tables. It has to be like this. So again, it's knowing what are you exceptional at? But it's
Yeah.
not, you just can't wake up and say, oh, I'm excited. It's some introspection, just like the example I gave. Oh, I'm not good at, I prefer to be unstructured. And like I said, that was an epiphany for me. But it showed, it showed in different things, right? So there's other things that I do really well though, and that's good. You bring your strengths and you identify those weaknesses and you mitigate them. There's sometimes I have to be structured to get what I want, but I'm not going to spend 100% of my time in structured activities because my strength comes from people and helping people to accomplish their goals and win.
Yeah, no, I get that. No, so our accountant Basil says, "Greetings, everyone. Thanks, Karla, for the mindset of it being an exchange." You know, I think there was those words by Steve Jobs: "Do what you love." Everyone's yay, you know, and they forgot how to apply the structure you're talking about.
It's love and talent. It's passion. It's passion and talent. You got to follow the passion, or you got to develop the talent, right? So
I mean, there's a word that's called the skills and all of that, right? There's a skills thing that you have to give to your employers or to a person who's paying you for your work.
yeah, if we want to talk about sports, you know, there's a book out that it's authored by Kobe Bryant's former coach, and I think Michael Jordan and Kobe had the same coach. And what he talked about was the practice that these two elite athletes had. That it's what you don't see in terms of all of us developing our trade, right? And I heard a couple of things in terms of peak performance. Another, I love acronyms because I'm an executive. I speak in bullets. I think in bullets. So P is knowing your purpose to achieve peak performance, knowing your purpose. E is that you need the energy to achieve that purpose.
Yeah.
So we have to take care of our asset. We have to take care of our bodies. We need health and wellness because you won't have the energy to succeed. And then it's A, it's taking some sort of action. And we just can't say, oh, I want to do this. And you got to take action. And then K is for knowledge. We need to continuously learn. We need to get the right certifications, the right education. So that's what I'm saying. It's a process. It's not just like this. It's very important, right? That's how we make our livelihood. That's how we support our families. We talk about houses and cars, but we are our best asset because that's how we get houses and cars and build wealth.
Yeah, you mentioned the word continuous. I'm going to come to you, Michael, in a second, right? That continuous. I mean, when I finished my degree, I started my master's. When I came across the concept of continuous learning, I was like, damn, a whole lifetime of learning. I thought I was done. Yes, I've learned a lot more since school days. You know, but again, I think a lot of people wait too late to start on this development journey. You know, and they wonder why life passes them by. But I guess Laverne is a good proof, and the point of Laverne.
Never too late.
It's never too late. You can still, but you have to be intentional and committed. You mentioned action just now, so you have to be truly committed to forever learning, forever developing your knowledge. Keith, you can't sit there quietly. I see you, Keith. I see you. Trying to say nothing, right? Michael, talk to us. Like, I can't put two of you on screen at once, so sadly. So, Michael, what do you want to say to Karla? What do you want to ask? The mic is yours, my friend.
Hi, Karla. I'm glad to hear you. You've got a very nice melodic voice, and it's attention grabbing, and extremely astute and authoritative. As a result, paying attention to what you're saying, and I'm interested in one thing, several things. I have several questions that will just pop up every once in a while. One of them is the integrated development plan, and then what is that? Number one, and how do you? Is it, because I've never heard of it? How do you apply it? Is it something that is fun? And I say fun because when we get out of college or when we're going through college, we hear about, just what Enias had been talking about, continuous education. And all we're thinking about is, hell no, no. But it is so important that we actually consider it. In fact, it's so important that if we are students, we actually get in there and continue our education as soon as possible, or while we're doing our undergraduates. If we are smart enough to be able to do that, and driven enough in order to be able to do that. And I think that a lot more people would be driven if they knew learning was fun. How do you integrate that into integrated development plan?
Well, when I break it down, we're seeking a synergy here. We're looking at individual parts of our personality, of our wholeness, that includes personality, interests, skills, and values. The drive assessment that I just did, that's the fun that you talk about. It's fun for me I'm motivated, I'm empowered when I'm impacting people. That's fun, right? There's other people. So that that director there, they are motivated and they have fun when they can live a life by design, when they are creating. Like I said, the R, when we are impacting people. That I, when they are learning, when they are setting up systems, when they are using their knowledge. That V, where they're getting some positive attention, when they're giving positive attention. And the E, my secondary is that E, when I'm accomplishing goals, when I'm winning, when I'm, the metrics. That's the fun part. That's why I love that tool. So it's a summary of different tools in the toolbox, so to speak. It's not one and done. To become a skilled person. I remember one of my roles about 20 years ago, the HR manager for the city's Office of Fleet Management. That's about 6,000 pieces of equipment. And whenever my staff had to hire a technician, they would have to arrange to move the technician's big toolbox. Their toolbox is not like a little Fred Flintstone toolbox.
I'm with it. It's
a dresser.
Huge, humongous, and very heavy. Good
so
God.
Giving,
I do not pity you there.
Yep, a practitioner, a career planning practitioner has a variety of tools to develop that integrated plan that I'm talking about. So, but you need to get the data in order to develop to identify the fun. I think drive is a good way to identify what fun is and what empowers people. Then it's, the personality, the interest, skills, and values. That's a 32-page document that comes out after a 2-hour in-depth assessment. Now, some people may not want to do that, but if you're saying, how do you do that? It's a systematic way of collecting all of those experiences. And then there's an in-depth 2-hour consultation. But there's templates, there's tools to do all of the things that I'm talking about, but it's not a one and done. Every occupation has some sort of system attached to it to bring success. So there are ingredients and subcomponents that make up that integrated plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
And Michael, 1 second. I will say this. I'm hoping it aligns with what Karla is saying. I think the fun is our sense of purpose, our sense of mission, our goal. How much do we really want this thing that we want to learn? I do say I love my job. I love what I do every day because I do what I like to do, right? I learn every day. I learn as you watch me do it earlier on today, right? I'm saying I enjoy learning stuff that's involved with what I want to do. I find the fun in it. I think it's for us to find the fun in our development. It's not in our development. Is we learn stuff. Some stuff is hard, right? But we find the enjoyment, and I think it's trying to get to that point for me, where they say, when you do what you love, then you never work a day in your life. Literally, that's where I live, and I learn accordingly.
How do you get to that point? And you get these development plans. You find out how you integrate, etc. You do the tests. Do the schools do that right now or not do that?
I think it's a journey. I think it's
Self journey.
no, you can have mentors along the way. There's wisdom in a multitude of counselors. Just like I said, I would not have been exposed to HR without that family friend in New York City. And part of my undergrad experience, we are a compilation of our experiences. It's just like, oh, how did I release 90 pounds over 3 years? It's work. It's mental. It's prayer. It's super that. It's so many things. How do you eat an elephant is one bite at a time, but it's starting and there's systems, but it's resilience is required. Everybody, it's like food tastes better when it's cooked as opposed to when it's in the microwave. So anything that you are going to do requires persistence. It requires a commitment to doing it. And it's really, it's tough by yourself. Listen to the peak performance coach, and he talked about, again, that persistence and that training and that community and that mindset. He was the peak performance coach for the 76ers as well as the Portland Trail Blazers. And he talked about Tyrese Maxey, and I know the 76ers aren't doing well, but looking at individual players. And he said, Tyrese Maxey, he would go to the gym every day at 6 a.m. See, people don't see that. And he had a community around him where he could focus on what he was supposed to focus on also. So it is having, and then he would have wisdom in a multitude of counselors. He was very coachable, very teachable. So it is having a career coach. It is having the data. It is having resilience training to a certain degree also to overcome, because bad stuff's going to happen. It rains on the just and the unjust, but it's how we respond to it. So when you say, how do you do it? It's not the schools. I remember when my oldest son graduated from college, we recognized the village, so to speak, right? It's not just the parents, it's the programs that he was in. We can't delegate responsibility for educating and empowering our students, our sons and daughters, to a school. And we can't do it by ourselves either. We are knitting those things together, identifying what, biblically, when we say train up a child the way he should go. And I know that is referring to scripture, but I am going to apply it also to when we are recognizing their talents, right? Other countries do that. Like, oh, you're going down this path. Now we want a little bit more freedom, but we are part of that process to identify the talent. That's why I love doing the assessments for the 12 to 16-year-olds. The earlier, the better. Because at the very least, we can eliminate the stuff that they don't want to do. And one of the things that I'm realizing in doing my consultations with the families of 12 to 16-year-olds, when I was growing up, we all would watch the same shows, right? Watching Cosby Show, whatever you're watching. But now we don't really know, and it's not bad. They're not necessarily watching something that's bad, but they're watching YouTube videos, they're watching TikTok stuff. I remember during the assessment, what came up for this 12-year-old was that she loved she had a cross-cultural interest. And I'm like, oh, I asked the 12-year-old student, tell me more about that. And she says, oh, when I go on YouTube and I'm looking at my reptiles, then I look at what country they're from. I look at then I look at the people that are associated with that country. And then I look at the food and then I ask the mom, did you know she was doing that? She's like, no. So how are we supposed to know but that's not her fault, because that's how I know. I raised two sons. Like, you're just trying to survive, that's why it's the village, right? It's just like, but now, everybody has
you're talking about a community.
Yeah.
And,
you got to use
like
everything. You got to
Ubuntu way of doing things.
Exactly.
Okay, I got
It's
you.
a process.
All right.
It's a process.
Annie, she's following my line of thinking. Thank you. I love her for that.
Hey, Karla, I took my career and made it a business. And I can take it further, but I have these three things that's, within me that's holding me back. I'm complacent, fear, and failure. How do I overcome those to grow my company?
So I think it's great, Keith. Kudos to you for identifying them, because some people can't even identify what's holding them back, and that you can state them. So I would say it's intentional about surrounding yourself with people that are going to push you. An accountability group is a start, right? But when left to your own devices, you're going to do what you want to do. But if you are intentional about joining a tribe, joining a accountability group, a mastermind, say, I want to be held accountable, and lean in, then that's really a start also. And making sure that mastermind, that group has the knowledge, like I said, to achieve peak performance, you need to have that knowledge. You need tools that are going to help you move there. But in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, it does say it starts with desire. You have a desire, but it may not be enough to move you to that next side. So you do need that. I think one of the tools is having that community, that accountability to hold you to what you say you want to do.
Okay, because the contracts have come my way several, and I just, oh man,
I'm gonna have to
fearful of it, you know.
But it's a process, right? It is a process. But I do have to go for my 7 o'clock though.
All right.
Like Keith, I would love to talk to you. We can, start.
Yeah, no, for sure, Keith. And I might say what turned my business around in the end wasn't technical skills. It was mindset, the fear thing, my way of thinking that was holding me back. And I got a mindset coach that transformed my business literally overnight. That's me. Karla, I have to mention, of course, the legend Stanley Green, who said,
yes, one of my favorite people.
Really, and then now suddenly I placed you in my work.
Plug
I
in.
heard of you, and I didn't know it was you. That's always in our power group. Now I know it's you. Amazing.
All right, but thank you for the invitation.
Hold on, one sec. Look at this one from Paulette. Thank you so much. I've sent your information. So basically I'll do another. I hope you do another event or class on Saturday to announce your next event. You do events?
You can go to karlahill.com, or you can text me at 215-802-0050. But I don't want to, I'm already late for my next event, but I want to.
I'll let you go.
Thank you so much for being with us, Karla. We appreciate you.
All right, take care.
I'll play your video again before we finish tonight. So hopefully people will get in the comments. And then we'll share the link. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. You take care.
Yeah.
Right. No hiding.
I wanted to point out, like with all that Karla said, the main point is that career development is not a one-stop shop. It's an ongoing, it's a continuous journey. It's not something that you could get done overnight. And like she said, it takes persistence. You got to be committed. Once you, as she mentioned, doing the assessments, once you figure out what you actually want to do with your life, like your purpose, what brings you joy, like the 9 to 5, it's not about the work, it's being happy in what you're doing every day. Once you figure that part out, and of course, there are going to be challenges. There'll be challenges. That's a given. But knowing that you're committed and knowing that you're going to continually strive to improve yourself, the learning, taking courses, whatever it is that you need to do to make yourself more relatable and more marketable to whatever the field is that you're interested in, the jobs that you want to actually apply for. It takes, and I believe this is one of the biggest and the best investment that we can make, investing in ourselves. I mean, we invest in so many other things, but like Karla said, sometimes we don't take the time to do it. It's the introspection, it's the looking at yourself and see where you're strong, where you're weak, where you need to be improved on, and just figure it out from there. That's the starting point. So don't ever feel like where you're at right now that it's all lost. Right, Annie, we're still winning.
No, yeah, of course we're winning, and look, I can develop, learning as we go is, that's how we stay ahead of the game. They're saying if you're not learning, if you're not growing, then you are dying. So
You're
literally, it's that harsh. That's why I look at it. It's not optional, it's essential. Again, I don't know, when we were talking earlier, I was talking about how a lot of people want to talk about, they want to learn about mindset. They want to learn about mindset stuff. I mean, that's good stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's necessary. As I did, Keith and I just talked about that very briefly. But we must learn technical skills. We must improve our skills. We must carry on. If we don't improve our skills and our knowledge, we're going nowhere. We can't wish success to happen. We have to actually do something. Karla mentioned taking action. We have to actually do to get the results we want. Let me stop talking. Coach David, how do you know you're a coach, right? How do you find fun? What does the development look like for you? Coach David, right?
Thank you so much. And apologies, I'm in and out of another meeting, but interesting conversation. Thank you, Michael, Laverne, Annie, and Mrs. Hill. I know that she's Miss or Miss. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Development for me is continuous. It's continuous, and number two, it's never exhaustive. It's never ending. It's never final. You must keep on doing, like Laverne said earlier. Thank you so much for that point. It is a continuous thing. The second thing with development is that you must never rest. You must be intentional. And the only room that is not filled in life is room for improvement. But development is also very complex, because the problem with development is that you probably never met yourself. Before you could meet yourself, you met your parents, who introduced you to you. They gave you a language, they gave you a belief system, they gave you a lot of things in the first 1 year. Before you could meet yourself, you met your parents. And then you've met school, and then you met colleagues. Before you know it, you're totally lost in the maze. That's why it's good to start the discovery journey as early as you have to. And what Karla Hill has done is very powerful, very awesome. And it's just one of the models. There are not less than 12, maybe 20. There are many developmental psychology stuff. And because you've done one, then pick another one. And even the one start growing it. D has a communication style. R has a communication style. I has a communication style. If you have a problem with V, develop it. And how do you communicate with someone that's a V? You learn the limbo of V's. How do you communicate with someone that's E? You learn the limbo of E's. How do you convince people as a manager? If you're going to lead all the five, then you must go the 5 competencies in quotes. So those are very interesting points. I want to speak to the question asked earlier before I keep quiet. I don't want to talk for too long. I'm passionate about this area. If you notice my voice, I can speak on and on. Now, fear and failure have their language. What are the thoughts, emotions, and imaginations that is sparkling that fear? That fear has a look and feel inside you. It has a construct. There was a time it was installed. An incident caused it. Something triggered it. When we do fear therapy, what we do is to find the source and the root of that fear and its anchors, and we try to collapse them. And typically, there is a trigger or an event that is being magnified and replayed over and over. So we need to give your mind as a business owner, we need to give them new neural pathways to think, or new possibilities to collapse the previous one. That's how to rewire yourself against fear and failure of the past. I can't remember the first thing that he asked about. And my last point is this. We walk through life and seldom do we dedicate time for personal development. Seldom do we say, I'm going to be half a day every month or half a day every quarter, until you need another job or a paradigm shift happens in your life. Majority of us are not intentional enough. Is it once a week you want to live for yourself and your career? Is it once a quarter? What time would you have? And it must be scheduled and calendarized, and it must be filled with activities. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Annie. Thank you, Lovin. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Laura and Absentia. Thank you. Awesome conversations.
We lost Keith, but thank you, Coach David, for sure. you know, there's much there. You know, they say, you know, we don't make time for our development, but I think it needs to be an everyday thing. That's my personal take. Every day, I try and learn something new. Again, I think Karla mentioned it, where most things we try and do quickly, and that's our mistake, right? That's our mistake. You know, I think I read a book, I've read the book, so that's it. You know, I think, you know, Paulette, I agree with you. We have to have a burning desire every single day of our lives. We really must. That's how we carry the fuel and almost the fun of learning too. You know, I think that's how we have to be. And you see, the point I was making is that when I read a book, I know I've taken something from it. But I know there's so much more in everything I read, everything I watch. You know, that I have to read it again. Most books I read 3 times over at least. And each time I find something new. It's not because I'm dumb or I didn't pay attention first time. It's simply because each time I come back to it, I'm a different person. I know more things about something else. And then that frames what I take from the book the second time, the third time, and fourth time. You know, some of the best people read the same book for years. For 50 years, 30 years, the same book over and over. Because each time they find something new. So development is not a one-time done thing, like you just said, Laverne. You know, it's a lifetime mission. And you know, I love the coach's, you know, idea that the only room that's not full is a room for improvement. Why don't I think of these things? Damn, coach. That's brilliant. That's smart, right? I give you that much. I know what's as smart as your suit. You don't have to talk about your suit, but when I've got our room tomorrow, we'll talk more for sure. Laverne, talk to us.
Yeah, and I think Paulette, she mentioned something just now too, and it is so true. It's about continuous learning. It's like getting up with that, you know, you have that goal in mind, and that's what motivates you. That's what pushes you. So regardless of what happens, and you may not get it today, you may not get it tomorrow, but as long as you keep at it, that's what it is. And I also like how Karla mentioned too about starting as early as, and I think she says she's doing from age 12 to 16 with that assessment tool. It's like you cannot start soon enough. You cannot start too early. The sooner you get into the game, the better you are. And it's not just going to be affecting you as a person. Like everyone around you is going to benefit from that because you learn so you can teach. Whether you have children of your own or colleagues, anyone else around you, you help them too. You share that and they can see the progress and the development in your own career. So it's all about winning, and it's all about, like Karla said, the community. It's not a one person thing. Like we all need each other.
I will say, I think when you get to the level of teaching others, that's when you really learn something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, so having to stand here day after day talk about different topics, I have to actually go and learn again. You know, so, you know, many of my events I will learn from books, and before the event, I will go and read the book again, whatever book that was. I did this yesterday, and literally, I'm like, wow, why didn't I say this last time? But it was always there. You know, but having to teach something means you have to truly learn it. Otherwise, you sound like you're waffling, and then there's nothing worse than waffling, right? You know, yeah, and I suppose the other part of that point is that when I learn something properly, it comes from implementing it. You know, I hate to learn and just leave it be. You know, I talk about this, you know, this learning and known and doing gap. We know something without actually doing the thing that we know we should do. I think, you know, we have to be aligned that if we learn something, we have to apply it and then refine it from there. That's all part of development, if you ask me.
Right.
Michael, come back, Michael. Come on, talk now. You had many points before we started, so I don't know what I don't know what I will answer you. let's talk about it from your point of view.
It's like this, Annie. I'm satisfied with what I've heard, and if later on, the additional questions that do come up, I'll bring them up. I do recall though that I did have a concern with we did talk about what do you call it? Baseline learning. In other words, we got to learn as much as we possibly can. And this is, in general, in order to figure out what we're really good at. And that is true. That's why it's a good idea to apply yourself in areas that you're not too familiar with. It's also a good idea, that you're probably not going to need later on in the future, but at least you know something about it and you know how to use it, how to apply it, etc. But it's also understandable when Karla talked about the different fields or different what do you call it? Different industries that you enter that use the similar that require your talents. There are so many of them that are out there, and you can't just block them off because you think that, oh no, they're only interested in certain type of people, or they're only interested in, like for instance, just do one of footballers, and oh no, I can't do anything in there. I could do accounting or something like that. But you can always do it when you get in there and show the fact that you can actually do the work. Or even the same thing in soccer. What else? What do you need to know when you're doing soccer? Are you good at strategizing? Yes, I am good at strategizing. I can strategize through a number of things. Well, there's also the business part of soccer, where you have to take into account, you got to sell the T-shirts, the memorabilia, and all that stuff for the company. So they need people like you who can market their stuff. Marketers, they need marketers too. So whatever you're really good at, just know that there's a place for you in the world, somewhere where you can apply what you know. It doesn't necessarily have to be something specific, what do you call it, an area or a place that's specific for your talent. No. Your talent can be applied anywhere and should be applied anywhere. Be able to apply it. You should be able to apply it anywhere you want to go in this world. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. You should be able to apply your talent that you passionately gained, and use it and advance it in that area if you can. So
interesting.
Yeah. Can I just say something?
Of course.
Just a minute. Sorry. So this one of my personal. So I do personality psychology. This is one of my problems with psychometrics and models like Drive. There are a lot of them. There's Myers-Briggs. There are all of them, and you meet people who have turned them to weaponized incompetence. And they say things, because I'm a D, I can't work in a V environment. Because my boss is E, I cannot be an I. Meanwhile, the aim of those models isn't that. The aim of those models is to at least start the developmental. So thank you, Michael, for bringing that up. We need to be positive.
I like the phrase weaponized incompetence. Wow.
Yeah, I meet them. I meet them a lot. They say, because I'm an introvert, so I don't like talking, so I can't do that thing. So a lady told me she was an introvert one day.
Introverts can talk very well and
wait.
very
Let me tell you the story.
Let me
give you the gist. Let me give you this. I don't like talking to no one. I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to no one. I said, good. I said, for everybody you talk to in this room, I'll give you $100. She said, no. I can't talk. I talk a lot. I love talking. She met 5 people. So I told her, I said it's a joke. We don't have any weakness. We only have insufficient motivation. If we flip the script on you, a V can become E, E can become I, D can become I, And in fact, these models help us to know what are the behavioral traits. We can model a successful D, sit a successful D down, and the successful D will show us their meta model. What are the thoughts, feelings, emotions, and imaginations that go through their mind as they perform that activity? What are the set of physical steps they take? How do their muscles behave? We can program that growth for you. So it's not an incompetence or a weakness identifying model, but a strength amplifying model. But people have misapplied it in times past, saying, I can't do this because I have this, I can't do that. And those labels don't exist. If they pay you good money, you find yourself flying. Introvert becomes extrovert, extrovert becomes introvert. I mean, can you keep quiet for 10 hours? I'll give you chocolate. You find young children still sleeping. They force themselves to sleep because they're looking for chocolate at the 10th hour. And trust me, they are coming for the 10th hour. They are coming at you.
Just don't say anything. What's the
class captain. Don't make noise. Don't make us lose chocolate. Don't make noise. They self-regulate among themselves. Go on, Eddie.
I think I just Michael. Michelle says you're amazing, Michael. You do make us laugh, and we do love you for being you, right? I think I agree with you, Coach. I think that people misunderstand psychometrics sometimes, at best of times. But even within that, I will say that there is a thing about being intentional in what you are learning, what you're developing in, what you are learning. The knowledge you're getting and the areas you're spending your time. Yes, of course, we can work anywhere, Michael, but I'd rather do what I really want to do. That's why I run my own company. That way I can do what I really enjoy doing. In marketing, there's something called a T-shaped learner, a T-shaped learning plan, development plan. Call it what you like, right? But it's T-shaped. So essentially, there are a few broad areas at the top. Now, email marketing, social media, ads. Are you with me? I'm saying there's analytics. There's different broad areas that you can learn. But you've also got to go deep on some of those. That's a long T shapes down, right? And that's about learning across broad areas, but also learning deep in some things, the things that really interest you. Now, when you learn deep, I think you can apply that anywhere, literally. And I'm not saying you should. I'm saying at least you have the capacity to apply your deep knowledge and your deep insights in different settings. I talk about thousands of events every year. That's just the way my life has turned out. My business has turned out, right, doing these events. And I amaze myself. And when I say sometimes I'm shocked, I come out with some ideas because I think, how do I know that? It's by having this T-shaped learning model in my head. So that I know some things I've learned and just parked away because I don't intend to use them. But I still know what they are. I still know enough to apply them in the right setting, right? My point is we can be intentional about what we develop our knowledge and skills in. We have to be. Otherwise, we just go around in circles, and when they're being shallow, not actually knowing enough about anything. Jack of all trades and all that. I'm sure we all know that saying, right? Be a master of something. Is my point.
Right. And Eddie, as you're talking about those skills, is having those skills that's transferable.
Yes.
Like regardless of where you work, you in yourself, there are some things that you could do regardless of the job, regardless of the environment that's in you. Those are your innate transferable skills. You could be used anywhere.
I talked to my son who's 15. I'm saying to him, you think your exams are about the grades. It's not about the grades. Of course it is. It matters what grades you get. But I'm saying deep down, it's about you learning how you learn. You learning what interests you. You learning what's really within you, what's inside you. It's not what the school gives you. I know you asked a question earlier, Michael. This education system is what it is. It's aimed at a broad range of kids to learn something, to at least be aware that this thing exists. But most of the learning most of the interest can be piqued when they're young, but then it carries on through life. The experts don't stop learning at 16 or 20 or 20 or 30. They carry on learning every single day for years, for a lifetime, most of them. And development, it's a funny thing, but it's an essential thing. Let's come back to you, Laverne, for a second. Mark, if you want to speak, feel free, right? Laverne, how did you find fun in your development, and what difference has it made to your life?
So for me, once I figured out what I wanted to do, once I realized what I love doing, is because I actually saw it demonstrated. One of my previous jobs, and the person in the HR team, when she helped me when I started with that company, and the processes that she took me through, and the way how she had that impact on me, I knew then that's something that I want to do. I want to be able to do that for somebody else. And so coming up through the HR, on the HR path, there are different routes in HR that you can take. And so currently my path is the hiring and staffing. And at the end of each day, whenever I'm able to contribute to someone getting started on their journey, that's the highlight of my day. That's where I find fun. We call it fun, but that's what makes me happy. Knowing that someone can say, "Oh, thank you so much, Miss Oliver. Thank you so much for," because when we meet new candidates daily, it's not just about them coming into interview or being placed with a job. We actually speak to the actual person on a whole. And so we get to learn from them. They share their experiences. Like last week, we were doing some interviews, and this candidate who was selected, she was so excited. Like she wanted to cry because she felt like she already recognized that this is going to be an important path on her career journey. This is just the first step. She was just selected. But just knowing that I am involved in that entire process, that brings me joy. That's the highlight of my day. So that makes what I do worthwhile. And that's the whole point of career development. You have to find that thing that makes you want to go and do it every day. Now, what my job is really stressful. It's a lot of work daily, but I feel so empowering when I do this job. So for me, that's what it is. You find that joy and you just stick to it. You improve yourself as you go. Like Karla mentioned, the many certifications that she has. You do what you need to do to always make yourself, like I said, marketable and relatable, so that way you can continuously help others as they start on their career journey as well. So Michael left us, any?
We lost Michael. Maybe his signal fell off.
Okay. But yeah, for me, that's the joy. That's where I find the joy.
Yeah, no, I can understand, and I can sympathize, and I can empathize. Like it's the same here, really. There's nothing better than helping people, which brings it back to it's about learning and applying what you learn to help other people, really, and that's the joy.
It is.
A lot of people just learn stuff for the sake of learning stuff. They feel like they just learn stuff for the sake of learning stuff. That's never going to drive you or motivate you to carry on learning. So when you can find the meaning behind what you're learning and the point of what you're learning, I think that's where we truly, development is a transformation. Is my point. We have to change as a person.
It is
based on learning this new thing. Go on, Coach.
Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you and Laverne. This is like a manual about yourself. This is about me. And you see, my basis is scripture, for you're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
There's a part of you. You are a masterpiece.
Masterpiece.
You're a masterpiece. And so it takes a while to master yourself. And you're created as a being of growth and greatness, and requires to school yourself in understanding yourself. I don't want to go preaching, but you see, there's a lot to achieve. There's a lot to achieve in life. And if, for example, you're a D, for example, we need a lot of Ds. If you're an R, we need a lot of Rs. There are deep things. And if you're an R, you can be the R that can help us understand V's better or E's better. Just to add to what we're saying, that it's a developmental map and it never finishes. And my counsel is for us to take as many of these things up to develop ourselves, because we need more people to be winners at work. And that links to the topic we're also talking about tomorrow. We want people that are indispensable. We want superstars anyway. We want, and we have the tendency, if you just think about how the equipment that God has put together in our bodies, how we spoke yesterday, we're speaking today and tomorrow, and our voices don't finish.
Right.
How the megapixels of our eyesight never finish. How we stand up and walk every day, and you walk and walk and walk and walk, and your leg doesn't finish quarter. So
Right.
there is, you're created as a master. I mean, you've eaten stuff that should destroy anything. You've eaten acid, you're fine. You've eaten alkaline, you're fine. Your digestive system is a masterpiece. So all of that equipment cannot be together and be less performing. If you see the cameras of our eyes, if you see the megapixels, even with my glasses and everything, what the optician has said about the human eye to me, how much to take for us to put together a robot that will see at that intensity and piece together information that way. So we are created to do great stuff.
Yes.
And that journey of developing ourselves to develop other equipment must be done. That's the other point I wanted to add to what we were saying earlier about development. Thank you.
No, totally agree. Michelle, thank you. I know you, as I see you have to go. He says thank you for being beautiful human souls.
Thanks for being here, Michelle.
I appreciate
As
everything
always.
you do. I never know what those emojis are, but they look good, so I'll take them, right? Part of my
Love you,
development.
Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy your night. Now, Michael's still alive. Thank goodness, he's still there somewhere. Right? No, he's just not in the studio. Look, look. I guess now the final thing was, I'm going to play Karla's video before we go, just for those who joined late or those who are watching the replay as well. I think development. Is I agree with this. It's a life mission, right? And yes, we're superhuman. What we're capable of is remarkable. And say, I always bear the words in mind. It's not, it's not what we can't do that scares us. It's how amazing we are and the greatness we really could do that scares people. That's the truth, right? People are scared of how far they really could go.
Yeah.
Because to get there means putting the work in. And doing the work to learn, and doing the work to make the mistakes, and doing the work that it takes to become a different person, to change our lives completely. And I said, no, we must not be scared of how great we are, and we can be, as you're saying, Coach, right? I guess I'm always I always have Maslow's hierarchy of needs in mind. Just when you've done everything, when you're as good, when you're the expert, now what? Do I stop? No.
No, you gotta keep going.
The top level of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization. It's that question: how great can you be? How great can you really be? That keeps us developing. That keeps us learning. Because we can even, there's no end to our greatness. And I think we're lucky to live in an age where human capabilities is coming to the fore. And again, I think it's something I read the other day that said basically that you can pick 5 or 6 scientists today who knew more than all these scientists that probably ever lived in human history. Think of that. That's remarkable, right? That just shows you what we can do and what we can be today. But it's more scary when you think of what we can be tomorrow. With the technology, with the knowledge, with the insights that be out there. What can we really do? Remarkable, amazing, unthinkable things. That's the point of development. Go on, Laverne. I think you have the last one.
No, it's all about embracing it. It's embracing it, knowing that it's a continuous journey. It's embracing lifelong learning, and not being afraid of going forward. Like you say, Annie, it's the things that you haven't done yet. Embrace it and just welcome the change, because success is not about where you started. It's about the fact that you continue on the journey. You keep going. You keep going. There's always something new to learn. Always, no matter what. So just stay positive, stay proactive, and be intentional about whatever it is that you want to achieve, whatever your career goals are. Invest in yourself. Whatever it takes for you to get to that place, just do it. You do it for yourself.
I wonder if this is the only one that you're probably never going to stop doing until you die.
Right.
Of the games in your book, Laverne.
Right.
This is the book, my friends. This is the book that we want you to come and buy next Friday when we launch the book. So this book will be available at launch price. I don't know what it is. It could be 99 cents. It could be $1.99, something like that. That's the most it's going to be. So do come and do join us. Laverne's going to sing and dance for us next week. It's book launch day, right? So she will. We're willing to entertain you, of course we will. But please do come and support Laverne to become a best-selling author by buying the book at launch price. So all you have to buy is the ebook as well. So if you like the ebook, then you can buy the print book. Yeah.
Right.
Now, but I've guaranteed to make Laverne a bestseller next week. So I need your help. Bring your shekels. Now in the UK, Coach David, in case you're wondering, it's $1.79 if it's $1.99. Otherwise, it's just 77 pence. Come on now. Come on, buy your friends copies too. And the Verse family and friends, now we need your help too. So I'm going to get you on the email. Now, Coach David is next on my list. So his event starts tomorrow, Laverne. He's going to have to. It's every
His event
week.
starts tomorrow?
Yes, Friday. Okay. So we're going to talk about your unfair advantage. That's his theme. So we'll start tomorrow.
I already got his name written down, so I know I'm definitely looking. Yeah.
Don't worry, you're on my email list now, Laverne.
His voice is so familiar to me, but yeah.
Excellent. Well, they got 4 weeks of us, and then talking about his. I don't know, Coach David. You tell us. Is it a mixture of spirituality and mindset? Now, what's your theme? Your unfair advantage. So I think it's those two things. I think it is. So if you can mix spirituality with intentionality, with your genius, of course you're unstoppable, right? Yeah, that's the point. But now do join us, my friends. Laverne, as always, please go in the comments and engage with our friends and follow people. And Laverne, you gotta meet them. Stop telling me I'm busy.
I am, Eddie. I am.
No, I don't.
I am, Eddie. You haven't been looking.
There's one chance to get your bestseller, Laverne. It's not one chance. We can do it again if we had to. I'm saying, if we don't get it, I'm gonna have to do it again anyway, right? But we've got one chance to bring your friends, your family, your LinkedIn connections together to buy your book. If I try and do it twice, they'll be like, I bought the book already.
No.
Right.
No.
So I'm saying we have to get it right this time. So you have to make the friends.
First time.
Yes. There's no choice. That's if I say guarantee, it means it has to be right. But thank you, Laverne. You've been a star. But I can't thank you till next week after our launch event. So we'll be in touch, my friends. Coach, you're always brilliant. I can't wait till tomorrow. Look, do check out Karla's Discovery Your Drive. So there's a website for it. I'll put the link in the comments. KarlaHill.com, KarlaHill.discoveryourdrive.com. So I'll show you the video again so you know what I'm asking you to go and check out. So do go and check it out. So when we come back, then we'll say bye to everyone, and then we should bid you good night. Give me a minute and a half. That's what the Lalon's video is.
Welcome to Discover Your Drive. In a world full of personality assessments, what makes Drive so uniquely different? It comes down to 3 areas: your personal life, your relationships, and your career. When you discover your drive in your personal life, you will learn why you think the way you think, the imposter syndrome that you feel sometimes, the ego, the anxiety, the fear, the self-doubt. When it comes to your relationships, it's all about connecting with other people and their drives. Whether it's an intimate, friend, or personal relationship, learning how and why other people are driven the way they are absolutely changes the way that you show up and the way you connect with them. In your career, it's going to help you with motivation, inspiration, the way you connect with your clients, your coworkers, maybe your boss. And then sales, it absolutely changes the way that you sell when you understand what drives other people. So to discover your drive, simply scroll down. There's gonna be 35 questions. It'll take you less than 5 minutes. Each question is based on what makes you feel important. So work and family can be important to you. Work and family may not make you feel important. We've defined that feeling of importance as when you really feel connected to your true self, feeling on top of the world, being in your true identity. On each question, you're gonna rank it from 1 to 7 as I strongly disagree or I strongly agree based on what makes you feel important. As you finish your last question, make sure you put your name and email address in so I can send you your 57-page custom drive assessment, which will help you connect more with yourself, revolutionize your relationships, and catapult your career.
Yeah, no, do check it out. So I'll put the link in the comments. So do go and have a look, my friends. It's free assessment. If I missed anyone out, I hope there's one more comment apparently. We'll get to Michael. Is Michael saying it's exercise and I've got to do it? Of course you do, Michael. So do I after this. But past midnight, I've got a meeting to have before I do that. Thank you so much, everyone. Laverne, you can have the last word.
Just do it, folks. Just do it. Whatever that goal is, just go get it done.
Win the game, my friend. You got to win the game, right? Coach, you're muted. What's your last word for us today, my friend?
Yeah, my last word is development never ends. And by the way, go take the drive test. Take it, take the 57 page report, piece it aside, do a developmental plan. Don't turn it to weaponized incompetence. No. Look for a way to use to develop yourself. Create a curriculum of your life. The word CV actually means curriculum vitae, which is course of life, the flow of your life. So develop the flow of your life and do all you can to grow with these two. So I'm excited. Thank you, Laverne and Amy and Karla in absentia. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, I will say thank you. I'm thankful to you too, Coach. Enjoy your night, my friends. So, I would love to say I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. I'm going to see you next week for the book launch on Friday. Enjoy your night, people. Take care.
Have a good night.
Every step forward is a new beat to your drum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com and celebrate it with or without champagne or rum. Achieve success with Global.Media.com.